Welcome back. The statement on the purpose of a corporation that these 200 CEOs were signing in August 2019 mentions a number of interesting commitments. CEOs commit to delivering value to their customers. They commit to investing in their employees, to dealing fairly and ethically with their suppliers, to supporting the communities in which they work, to generate long-term value for shareholders. Each of the stakeholders is essential. We commit to deliver value to all of them for the future success of our companies, our communities, and our country. When I was talking with my students about this, they are cynical. They think this is really nonsense. We need to see what they mean because we can come up with all kinds of examples of exactly the same CEOs violating the dignity of all of their stakeholders at one point or the other. So what I'm suggesting here is that we need to rethink fundamentally how we organize. And metaphors are important. How do we understand when we organize in accordance to the statement of the purpose of a corporation? Shifting mindsets is critical. You've seen the slide before, but I cannot state it enough. Problems cannot be solved with the same mindset that created them. So if CEOs, such as Jeff Bezos and Jamie Dimon and all of those, that are criticized for the way that they treat their stakeholders, are now saying we want to treat them all well and with dignity, well, I think we better look at that and try to understand how can they do that. Business as usual is not enough. We're coming back to the bagel and the sandwich. This is potentially silly, and on the other hand, I think it can be profound because it does give us a way of understanding how CEOs, how leaders are organizing. The current model, business as usual, says CEOs are responsible for maximizing shareholder value. The statement on the purpose of the corporation by the Business Roundtable in 1997 made that clear. This revised statement is suggesting that this is not enough. Not anymore. Not in this time. And it goes to this bagel to say we need to honor the dignity of all our stakeholders. We need to respect the planetary boundaries. And we need to get into a safe and just operating zone, as Kate Raworth would say. She basically came up with the idea of a donut economics as a way to guide us in terms of how well we organize as a species and our economic affairs so that we can survive as a species. Going back to this little graph, just to explain it a little more, the danger is that if we are stuck in the current dominant model, what we might be doing is we might be saying we want more wealth and power and status by honoring the dignity or the four drives of people. That means the drive that they need something to eat, the drive that they need to feel somewhat safe, and that they get community going and that they are in some way involved with something more purposeful. The humanistic model, on the other side, represents a drastic shift because the goal of organizing, of management, of leadership is not any more wealth, power, or status, but it's enabling thriving, well-being for all stakeholders. And that means that managers need to honor this dignity threshold. And it's not by maximizing the drive to acquire, but by balancing it with the drive to bond, the drive to comprehend, and the drive to defend. We're going to go into more detail on how that can be done and how that is done. But just for now, to understand those metaphors, there is this model which says maximization is our responsibility. Cost reduction typically is what we want to achieve. So reducing the cost in the supply chain, reducing the cost of labor, reducing or increasing the prices for customers. That's sort of basically what we needed to do to extract as much as we can, to create as much profit as we can. Because shareholder value maximization is the game in town, is the way we think about responsibility and good management. The alternative model is that good management is honoring the dignity of all stakeholders and respecting the planetary boundaries. Very simple and very hard to do. So be on the lookout for what these CEOs are doing, how they are potentially shifting their policies, the way that they create products, the way they treat their suppliers, their employees, etc., to see whether they're actually truly shifting from a maximization model, an exploitative model, towards one that is regenerative, restorative, and honors dignity.